Hey, Facebook friends and peeps.
Yeah.
Joining you today for Live, Love, Local. And today I'm with Tommy Lubiewski from USA Mortgage. And you know, I like this guy the most is because we have matching haircuts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so can't complain about that. It's always good when you get two bald guys in the room.
Absolutely.
We know more than anybody, right?
All the knowledge pushed our hair out.
Right, something like that. All right, so Tommy has his own business with USA Mortgage, and tell us a little bit about how you got into,
Sure.
your background.
So to be honest, I started when I was 19 years old. I became a realtor when I was 19. I sold houses for about 7 years. Loved being a realtor. But I always wanted to know. So when I started, I hadn't bought my first house yet. I didn't know the difference between an FHA and a conventional loan.
Sure.
So I really wanted to know that stuff for my clients, and that's kind of what led me into my banking career. So after I was a realtor, I started with a large bank here in St. Louis. And I worked there for 12 years, had many different roles. I was in underwriting, I was in processing management, I worked in corp relo. Then in about 5 years ago, actually it's been 5 years, I was let go by that company and moved to USA Mortgage. And Tim, honestly, it's changed my life.
Yeah.
I love doing what I do, love helping people. I was actually fortunate to be able to help 134 families this past year.
Wow.
So
That's a lot.
it was a great year, for us. And during the pandemic, I know that a lot of people suffered, but the real estate market has been tremendous to us, with low rates and how many buyers are out there right now. I mean, what's crazy is it's pretty much a buyer's and a seller's market right now.
Sure.
And in my 22 years experience, I've never seen a market like this, honestly. Never seen rates this low. So that's kind of my background to me.
Yeah. It's crazy. So there's a lot of different type of loans out there, and a lot of people looking for new houses or refinances or whatever. They don't know a whole lot about loans. Like
Sure.
you said when you first were in the real estate business. So give us a couple examples of like the loans that are out there and
Sure.
the differences.
Sure. So the first thing is that there's a misconception out there that you have to put 20% down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Huge. I hear that all the time
Yeah.
from people. They're like, well, I just don't have 20% to put down for a house.
Sure. So the first program, there are first-time homebuyer programs out there that have grants for help with down payments.
Mm-hmm.
So even if they don't have a down payment, there's been times where I've got somebody into a home, honestly, and they've got their money back, their earnest money back at closing.
Wow.
So if you can position the loan right and get closing costs from the seller, all that kind of has to go together to do something like that. But that's there's different programs. First-time homebuyer programs. That one would be the one I'm speaking to at first is 3.5% down, and then they give you a grant of 4% for down payment and closing cost. The next one that I love the most for first-time homebuyers is there's two. There's a Fannie and a Freddie product. The one I like is the Freddie product. It's called Home Possible. Now, Home Possible is a 3% down conventional program. It's a great program for first-time homebuyers. The only problem is there's income limits on that, so you can't make too much money. So those are a couple of the first-time homebuyer products out there. Then you look at FHA. FHA, lowest down payment, 3.5%. The only problem with FHA is you'll have mortgage insurance for the life of the loan.
Sure.
Okay. Second thing, going forward there, obviously conventional loans is the best way to go, honestly. But you need 5% down if you're not doing that first-time homebuyer program. So you'd have to have 5% down. You would have mortgage insurance. But like we said, you don't have to have 20% down to buy a house right now.
Sure.
I think that's a old misconception. Parents and grandparents, they had to put 20% down. But we're lucky enough these days to have programs that you can put less down and get into a home fairly low down payment.
For a lot of people, that's only a few months of saving. If you figure if you've got a couple of incomes and you have a few extra $1,000 at the end of the month, or even just if it's a few $100 at the end of the month, it doesn't take that long to maybe get that 3 or 5% on a $200,000 or $300,000 home, right?
Absolutely. And then then you go into jumbo mortgages.
Sure.
So jumbo mortgages, basically they're over the conventional limit. The conventional limit went up to what is it? I can't remember right now off the top of my head, but it's like $450,000 is conventional loan limits. So anything above that would be jumbo loan limits, and we do have great products for jumbo as well. So if you have any higher price buyers, we do have products available for them as well. One thing, alluded to, it being a buyer and seller market. It's, rates are so low right now, Tim.
Absolutely.
And the other thing is that right now, buyers, I couldn't tell you how many buyers I have that are pre-approved in the $250,000 range out here in St. Charles, which is a great price range out here. The only problem is there's not a lot of listings in that price point. So I will tell you, anybody that's watching, if you have a home that you think is maybe in that $250,000 price range and you're thinking of, moving up, now is a fantastic time to sell and move up, because interest rates are so low that, say you have a $250,000 house, you may be able to get into a $325,000 house, $350,000 house for about the same payment as you're making now.
Yeah, take advantage of it while it lasts.
Absolutely.
For sure.
So, that's an important thing I want to cover here with everyone is if you are on the fence about buying or selling, especially selling, now is the time. And we've been saying that for 22 years.
Yeah.
Now's the time. But with rates in the twos, now is the time.
Yeah. There is, I'm going to hit you with this, but there's a really cool program out there now too, for those of you that are worried about, hey, but I have my house to sell. Well, some of those houses are selling so quick. I mean, absolutely, literally sell within hours,
with 20
of hitting
contracts.
the market, or not even hitting the market. Yeah, with 10, 20 offers, whatever. But they're saying, hey, without it, I just don't have a sizable down payment. So I think you call it, was it the Bridge program?
Yeah, there's bridge loans out there too. So the only problem with a bridge is that you do have to have the equity in your current home to be able to borrow against it to put that down payment down on the next house.
Makes sense.
It's very, we always talk about first-time home buyers and such like that, but no one ever talks about first-time home sellers.
Sure.
So you buy your first house and you live in it for 5-10 years, and now you want to sell and move up. There's a lot of things that go into, first time selling, and people don't know yet, right? So, when you're trying to sell and trying to buy at the same time, it can be a crazy situation, but we've dealt with that many, many times, and we know how to work those specific situations to make sure that that you aren't homeless, really. So, most of the time we can always make it work that you close on the same day to buy and sell. I did that on my last house. It was crazy because you end up moving in like 7 hours.
Fun.
But yeah,
Fun times.
But yeah, so there is that bridge option, but just know that you have to have that equity in your current home to be able to borrow for the down payment on the next home.
Sure.
So that's usually what happens. When someone's going to be using the funds from the sale of their house to purchase the next house or put their down payment on the next house is where are those funds coming from if you aren't to sell your home first, your current home. Sometimes I'll talk to people about, possibly using a 401k or an investment account to put down that down payment. And then after their house sells, if that's what we have to do, after their house sells, then they can pay that back to their 401k or investment account. So there's a lot of different avenues to make buying and selling at the same time a lot easier, honestly.
I'd say in this market, there's not a whole lot you should be afraid of. I mean, homes are selling good. A good realtor is going to coach you through that whole process. If it were me and I'm trying to, I would try to coach you through the whole process to let's get the most that we can out of your home and let's sell it as quickly as we can so it's not sitting there. And there's just little tricks that you learn as you go on, and you can really use them towards people's advantage.
And one thing that I love about you, Tim, and why we get along so well besides the hair, is that you're more of an educational realtor, where you want to educate them on every aspect of what's going on.
Right.
And that's super important. I think if people don't know what to expect, then it all goes crazy.
Well, it's not an easy process, and if you've had a home that you've owned for like maybe 15 or 20 years and you haven't bought a home since then, a whole lot has changed. I found that out firsthand in selling a home about 7 years ago, and then find out even more, once I get here, and all of a sudden I'm a realtor, and that's my job.
Well, I'll tell you, after 2008 happened, it is a lot different. As a mortgage professional, a lot has changed with mortgage. The government requires additional, more documentation than they used to. One of the reasons for 2008, there was a lot of reasons why 2008 happened, but one of the reasons was, mortgage professionals weren't getting all the documentation they should have.
Right.
And people were put in situations where they couldn't afford their homes, and that snowballed.
It seemed like it was almost too easy at one point.
Oh, it was for sure.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, great information from a guy that I love and trust, and this is why you choose a mortgage professional that that has been in the industry, that is tried and true, and local. Yeah, and in the same office as me, because I know, every time I work with Tommy, it's a very, very smooth process on my end. I'm kind of the middleman between the whole thing, so I can imagine it's going to be a really, really smooth process for you guys. So, Tom, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you directly.
Sure. So you can reach me on my cell phone. It's 314-780-4800. I've had that number since I started selling real estate, and I've kept it forever.
That's awesome.
Everyone always asks me, is that your business number or your cell phone? But it's my cell phone. And you can also email me at toml@usa-mortgage.com. Thanks, Tim, for having me. I appreciate it, man. You got a great thing going here. I think this will be great for you, and I'm excited for you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for coming on and being here and supporting me. And I'm sure everybody out there watching will be calling you here shortly.
Sounds good. We'll talk to you soon, guys. Have a great day.